Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's weather forecast, we're going to be going over the threats of severe weather for the next 3 days, which have changed a little bit, but we're going to be going over those. We also do have a moderate risk for flash flooding across the Central Plains, which we haven't seen for quite some time, but we will be talking about that too as well. And then we'll also be talking about future severe weather, and that's what we're going to do again as we get to the end of this video. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and as well as leave a comment down below if you haven't already. I remember someone left a comment down below yesterday and I wasn't able to see it, but still try to comment down below and I probably will see it this time after restarting my computer and all that. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and especially leave a comment down below if you haven't already, and we will certainly get you guys started with professional and as well as accurate videos. Let's go ahead and look at today's threat, and as you can see, this isn't today's threat, this is today's threat, and as you can see, we do have a slight risk level 2 out of 5 threat for severe thunderstorms across the upper Midwest and into the Central Plains. So certainly a pretty big area to watch for, and it will pretty much be this area right here that we're going to be watching closely. But even this area down here towards places like Southern Oklahoma, back into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and even back into central Mississippi will also need to be on high alert for severe storms too as well today. And if we look at the tornado threat for today, as you can see, we do have a 2% risk for tornadoes, mainly across this area right here, heading from Des Moines all the way down towards Wichita, Kansas. So certainly a pretty big area to be watching for. But even down here, we did also get a 2% risk for tornado added to as well. But I would not be surprised if they did connect both of these tornado threats together in the next Storm Prediction Center outlook, which will be in about 2 hours. Let's go ahead and look at the wind threat for today, and as you can see, we do have a 15% risk for damaging wind pretty much across the entire site. Risk up here to the north, but even down here towards the deep south, make sure to be on high alert for some damaging winds. We could be talking some damaging winds up to 60, if why not even 70 miles per hour. So whether you live in this slight risk or even this slight risk up to the north, please be prepared for some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. We aren't really expecting hurricane force winds, which are 70 mile per hour winds or greater. But, like I said, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds is still winds you need to be on high alert for, because they can still cause some damage. So make sure to secure your objects if you are in one of these yellow areas. Hail threat, we do have a 15% risk for large hail across the entire site, risk up here to the north. But even down here, we actually do have a hatched risk for large hail, meaning that 2 inches in diameter or greater is possible, and it only includes a very small area. So places like Norman, Oklahoma, Southern Oklahoma City, back into Fort Still, and even Wichita Falls, Texas will all be at risk for some large hail today. So make sure you are putting your cars into your garage, especially if you live in this area right here. Like I said, there is a hatched risk, which means 2-inch hail or greater is possible. So make sure to put your cars into your garage right now if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and look at tomorrow's threat. And as you can see, for tomorrow, we already do have a marginal risk for severe thunderstorms, mainly across parts of the Great Lakes heading into the central Ohio Valley and as well as the eastern Ohio Valley. And I was right about a marginal risk getting added for Wednesday, because yesterday this was all just a general risk for thunderstorms, which is pretty much this light green color as you can see. But they did add a marginal risk, which, like I said, I was right about that. So if you do live in this marginal risk for tomorrow, which, like I said, will be for Wednesday, make sure to secure your objects, because I do think we could see some damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, because as you can see, there is a damaging wind threat. And hail threat, it doesn't look like there's any hail threats to either two as well, so we certainly will mainly be watching for the threat of damaging winds, because as you can see, there is no tornado threat, and there's also no hail threat. So tomorrow, not looking as concerning, at least as of right now, but I wouldn't be surprised, though, if this did get extended a little bit farther down southwest, and that's because models are showing some decent high, instability and even some cape and wind shear across this area. Not a lot of wind shear, though. It's actually like very, very, very weak amounts of wind shear, but still enough to cause, some damaging winds and maybe even some large hail. So like I said, I would not be surprised if this marginal risk did get extended down to the southwest, to where it includes, southern Illinois and as well as southern Indiana. So that could certainly happen, so we will need to be watching for that. Let's go ahead and look at Thursday threat, which will be after tomorrow. So it is Thursday, and as you can see, no risk for severe thunderstorms across any part of the United States, but we could be seeing some isolated to scattered thunderstorms across the eastern United States, and as well as down here towards the Southern Plains could be some areas that we may get some scattered showers and even some thunderstorms around. But like I said, there's no severe weather threat, so chances of severe thunderstorms are pretty low by this point, but we cannot rule out a marginal risk getting added somewhere in this area. We could have a pretty big marginal risk depending on what models are showing, but as of right now, there is no risk for severe weather, like I said, so things do remain more on the uncertain side, and things also look to be a little bit calmer as we head into Thursday. Let's go ahead and now look at the excessive rainfall outlook that is today, and as you can see, we do have a moderate risk for flash flooding in this red color, and like I said when I just started this video, we did have a moderate risk down here for flash flooding across the Central Plains, and it does include some of the Central Plains, but it also does head into the Arctic region too as well. So if you do live in this red color, which is the moderate risk, that's a level 3 out of 4 threat for flash flooding, make sure you do have ways to receive flood alerts. This can be a pretty life-threatening situation, guys, because I read about a moderate risk for flash flooding, and it means there could be significant flash floods. Some of the areas that don't usually experience flash flooding could see some flash flooding too as well, and that doesn't include all areas, but some of the areas could see some unusual flash flooding, and we could even be talking, as high as 1 foot of rainfall in some areas if we do get training thunderstorms over the same areas. So like I said, this is a life-threatening situation. So if you do live in this red color, including Oklahoma City back into Shreveport, make sure you do have ways to receive flood alerts, and if you are underwater, make sure to seek higher ground, because that's the right thing to do whenever the ground is flooded, is to seek higher shelter immediately. So make sure to be on the highest floor possible, and that's usually what you do whenever the roads are flooded, and that's so that you don't drown. And even around that, we do have a slight risk for flash flooding going from the Canada border all the way down towards the Gulf of Mexico for today. So not only are we talking about this moderate risk, but even the slight risk could have some areas also seeing some pretty good flash flooding. We aren't going to be talking like dangerous, life-threatening situations in this yellow color, but we could still see, some 2 to 5 inch totals in some areas, which is still enough to cause some flash flooding. So even if you live in this yellow color, make sure to be on high alert for flash flooding, and we could even be, talking some areas seeing some significant flash floods, which does seem to be a possibility. So, like I said, whether you live in this red color or yellow color, make sure to live, or make sure you do have ways to receive flood alerts, but also make sure you know what you're doing whenever the ground is flooded. Let's go ahead and look at tomorrow's threat, and as you can see, it's just marginal across the east, so we aren't really worried about tomorrow, which will be for Wednesday. Thursday, not really worried about Thursday either, because like I said, the threat is just marginal. This will be pretty much from Thursday after tomorrow. Day 4, as you can see, it's just marginal too as well, so we aren't really, worried about Friday either as of right now. And then day 5, it looks like they did add a slight risk for flash flooding, and they don't usually issue one this far out, but since confidence is really high, they did decide to add a slight risk for flash flooding across southwest Missouri, back into southeast Kansas, back into northeast Oklahoma, and as well as northwest Arkansas. So make sure to be on high alert for flash flooding as we do head into the weekend, which will be for Saturday this week. So if you do in this yellow color as we head into Saturday, also make sure you do have ways to receive flash flood alerts. Let's go ahead and now take a look at the total rainfall. This is pretty much from now all the way to June 14th, and as you can see, we still expect the central United States to get some pretty heavy rainfall in a lot of areas, but even over here towards the eastern part of the Rocky Mountains, heading down towards the deep south, we could even be talking about some pretty high rainfall totals too as well. So pretty much this entire area that I'm circling will be the area to be watching the closest. And places like Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas, and as well as Tennessee, Mississippi, northern Alabama, and as well as Georgia, and as well as the Carolinas will be the area to watch for the most significant flash flooding. But look at Florida, guys. Florida could be talking some 4-inch totals, especially in the western part of Florida, so pretty much along the coast, so pretty much the west and east coast of Florida could be seeing some 4-inch rainfall totals from now all the way to June 13th. If you do live along the coast, I do think we could see some flash flooding from now all the way to June 13th, so I would recommend getting ready for some potential flooding if you do live along the coast. So, make sure to get ready for that. But things do change quite a bit, so we may or may not see that. Like I said, things do change quite a bit, especially when you are heading over 200 hours out, which we are, but that's not like terribly far out, so that's why I do want to show you guys it. And as you can see, like I said, we could be talking some flash flooding along the coast of Florida, so that would at least be something to watch for. But like I said, we are heading far out, so expect some things to change. So like I said, we may or may not see flooding in Florida, but just be prepared just in case. Let's go ahead and look at the Climate Prediction Center outlook, and as you can see from now, or from June 9th, rather, all the way to June 13th, we will still be talking below average temperatures across the entirety of the eastern United States, but especially this area right here that I'm circling, which does include the Ohio Valley and portions here of the Midwest. But even over here out towards the west, we could also be talking some pretty well above average temperatures, pretty much in this maroon color that you see right here. So certainly a pretty big area to still be watching for above average temperatures. But like I said, we will likely continue to see below average temperatures out here to the east too as well. Now, if we look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, as you can see, this from June 11th all the way to June 17th, we will likely to continue to see below average temperatures across the entire eastern United States, but especially this area that I'm circling right here. But even across the west, we could also be continuing to see above average temperatures, especially in this area right here, which is more of a red and orange color that you can see mainly across southern Idaho heading into northern Nebraska. So certainly still quite hot out there as we head from June 11th all the way to June 17th. And now if we look at the precipitation, as you can see, we do expect some dry precipitation up here to the north, and that is pretty much from June 9th all the way to June 13th. So pretty well, above average precipitation is still expected across the Four Corners region heading down into the Southern Plains, and even across the East Coast, we certainly will need to be watching that too as well. And like I said, we will need to be watching for below average precipitation in this area too as well. Now for the 8 to 14 day outlook, which is pretty much from June 11th all the way to June 17th, and we certainly will need to be watching for some below average precipitation heading as far down south as the deeper south, but even into the western Ohio Valley, the Midwest, and even back up here towards the northern United States. States will be the area to watch closely as we head from June 11th to June 17th. But even across the East Coast and as well as the Four Corners region, we could still be seeing slightly above average precipitation as we continue to get closer. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the hazards. These are the alerts that are already issued. This will either be for today or even the next couple of days. And as you can see, we do have some excessive heat warnings across the western United States, which isn't surprising because we are dealing with temperatures in the triple digits, especially around the Phoenix and as well as the Las Vegas region. But even into Southern California and as well as the mountains in California, we are also dealing with some excessive heat too as well, at least enough to, cause some pretty bad health issues. So if you live anywhere in this pink color, which are the excessive heat warnings, make sure you do know what you're doing because, like I said, we are talking temperatures in the triple digits, which is enough to cause health issues. This is also enough to, make things hard with your body and health, and certainly the same situation goes for southern Texas, where we also have some more excessive heat warnings in effect too as well, but even around that we also do have heat advisories. Over here, just to the west of that area, we do have flood alerts, which isn't surprising either because we did have that moderate risk for flash flooding pretty much in this area right here that I'm circling. So this area right here did have that moderate risk for flash flooding. So like I said, if you are in the moderate risk for flooding, or if you are under a flood watch, make sure to have ways to receive flood alerts. But even up here towards the northern part of the United States, we got a couple of flood alerts, not as significant as down here, but still enough to maybe cause some flash flooding in some areas. And even over here towards the Rocky Mountains, such as Wyoming and as well as Montana, we could be talking about some high winds up to 60 miles an hour the next couple of days. So if you do live in high wind warnings, make sure you are securing your objects. Now let's go ahead and look at future severe weather. We're going to go ahead and go to the entire United States, so that way you guys can see what's happening. And as you can see, we'll continue to see severe weather across the plains and deep south as we do head into Friday, which will be this weekend. But as we continue to take this forward, as you can see, still dealing with some severe weather even across the deep south as we head into June 10th, which will be on Monday. So just after the weekend. And as we continue to take this forward, we will still likely be dealing with some severe weather, especially across the northern United States, because as you can see, we are starting to get those darker reds showing up, which does indicate very high supercell composite. And as you can see, that will likely continue for the upper part of the United States, especially the upper Midwest part. So make sure to be on high alert for severe storms as we do head into the middle of June and as well as the end of June if you do live up here towards the upper Midwest. But we are really heading far out, so just expect things to change, because they were showing some severe weather moving through the Ohio Valley about at this time frame right here. So they were showing some severe weather across the Ohio Valley about this time frame, but as you can see, it's not there anymore. So like I said, please expect things to change as we do get closer, and obviously take that all with a grain of salt. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy my video. I'm really glad you guys did like my video, and I'm really glad I did get a new subscriber too as well. So thank you guys all for liking my videos, also subscribing, and even leaving a comment. Like I said, someone did leave a comment, I just didn't get to see it. So make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below, but especially subscribe if you haven't already.